So when it comes down to writing scripts, the one thing that I seem to struggle with is how to structure sentences properly and how to know what I actually want to write about. So halfway into the scripts, and I did this with most of my semesters when I was like at university, most of the time it was winged, and I feel my lecturers had to just, they had to really struggle to understand what I was saying, let alone the whole 20-page thesis and dissertations. It felt like I was rambling in the hopes that, something goes through and someone listens and knows what the fuck I'm talking about. So just going to get that across right now when I'm saying this. I'm going to script it in bullet point just to start off with, but this is the first episode of the Somehow Human podcast, which is something I've been wanting to do for quite a while, and doing solo especially is very, very daunting, but I will be doing solo ones and council certified still with Tom if he's up for it, or anyone else that wants to join really, because I'm going to get into that as the script progresses. So when I'm speaking to you guys now, it's going to feel like I'm just talking through a script, which I am doing. It's the introduction to the podcast. But in future ones, I'm probably just going to do stuff like, doing Q&As on Instagram and recording it on the microphone that I'm using now, which is a HyperX Solo Cast, I think it is. Links will be in descriptions if you can do descriptions. Oh, well, on YouTube it will be. But I do recommend this microphone for doing podcasts. It's not cheap. It's like 65 quid, but it's worth getting in the long run because it is a very reliable microphone. So I'm just going to jump into it and read from the script, and then obviously I'll go off-piste every now and then and say what I'm actually wanting to talk about. So the first bit of the solo podcast is going to be scripted, and I have some sort of jumping point, and then after I'll be either just winging it or bullet pointing, like I said, what I'm going to be talking about. So with this being the first episode of solo episodes, I just want to talk about what I'm planning to do later in the future, but right now I just want to introduce myself first. So my name's Ethan. I turned 28 last year being 2024, and I live in the northeast of England with my cat Suki, who's behind me, but she's asleep. But she will wake up once I start rattling the Dreamies bag. And when my mood takes me, I'll do something creative and make something. So my current fixation is reading, so I want to write little stories when I have time, and mainly when I just can't sleep, all that kind of stuff. I'm currently reading the I can't remember what it's called. It's Happy Like Murderers, and it's a book about Fred and Rose West. I shouldn't be bothered that I butchered their names because they're assholes. But basically, I'm into true crime, if that wasn't apparent with some of the stuff that I post on social medias and stuff like that. Not in the mental kind of way where I eat food and talk about it. I want to do a podcast episode or a video essay on a crime that recently happened here in the town that I live in at some point, but it's structuring and everything else that I really do struggle with. Right now I'm struggling to even talk through the podcast, even though I'm not actively talking to people. I'm just actually speaking and stuff like this. So we've hit the 3-minute mark now, so that means it must be off to a good start when I haven't even got through the script and I'm 3 minutes in. So I'm not sure how long this episode's actually going to be. But yeah, I'll do something when I can't sleep. I'll write, or I'll just watch videos and stuff. So yeah, as people all know, I stream on TikTok twice a week, and then Twitch is once a week. It's going to alternate between what sites I'm going to be on, because I'm thinking Tuesdays, Thursdays is TikTok, Saturdays is Twitch, or Tuesdays, Thursdays Twitch, and then Saturdays TikTok. I'm not too sure, because I'm going to go into it later on in the episode about why the thing is with me recording on streaming on different sites and stuff like that in a second. I do get a little out of tune when no one talks in the chats and there's no interaction, but that's something that I want to change, because I shouldn't be letting approval or recognition stop me from doing my hobbies, and that is something I want to talk about in a future podcast, and just doing things in a future episode about talking about doing things for yourself or doing things for other people. You should do things for yourself, basically, and I'm going to do a whole episode about that. So yeah, I'll talk about that in a future episode. So I was born and raised in Teesside in the Stockton area, and because of the area and the people that live there, I definitely have a few life events that I would like to share about growing up in Teesside, especially in the early 2000s and stuff like that when I was a kid. And we used to go to my granddad's for the weekend. There is, I need to get my brother on board with it. I don't know if he remembers it, but me and him were practically nearly killed when we were kids. We got lured out into the woods, and I'll elaborate on that in another episode at some point. But it was very scary. It was very scary. So we talked about all the weird stuff that's happened from there, and even weirder things that happened when I was adult. There's a topic that my friend Charlie wants me to talk about, involving going to the cinema and a really uncomfortable situation, which I will probably talk about in another episode when I get a chance to. So I'm autistic. I don't think I need to tell you that because you'll suss it out when you watch my content anyway, or you hear me talk. I was diagnosed with it when I was 18, so God, that's like 10 years ago now. So that's like 2014. I was diagnosed with it. I was diagnosed a bit late, in my opinion. Sorry, next door just said something. I don't know if that was a cat or next door. But yeah, I was diagnosed with it when I was 18. So I could have done it earlier because as I was growing up as a kid, there was a lot of things where in school I had to go, like, they all thought it was anger issues, or they all thought it was because I didn't understand what was being said to me and all that kind of stuff, and I had I had behavioural issues as I was growing up and stuff, and my mum kind of just denied that I had it, and then I started going to CAMHS, and my true OG people in the group, my mental health girlies, will know what what a horrible place CAMHS is. I looked out, to be fair though, but I got a really good counsellor, and they talked me through, all the things and everything else, and got me diagnosed and stuff, and I am happy that I've got diagnosed, because in a sense it's like, well, I know what I am and I know what I've got and stuff like that, and so I was diagnosed when I turned 18. I think it's the third time I've said that now. I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and it's definitely not been easy. I'm currently getting seen to about getting bipolar, a diagnosis for that and stuff like that, but it's a long line of like waiting and everything else like that, because my mum's got it, and I know people say it skips generations, like it skips to your kids, and not like if you have bipolar, it skips to your children's children, but I don't know if that's a myth or not, so obviously if you want to correct me on that, you can. But yeah, I'm getting seen for stuff like that, and I'm getting also seen for my doctor would say it's acute agoraphobia, because I have panic attacks when I leave the house, and I have to leave the house when someone's actually planned things. I can't do things impromptu, otherwise it frightens me, and I do feel like sometimes my mental illnesses make me feel like a burden on my friends, or they don't make me it makes me feel like I'm not a good friend because of those issues. And obviously, it's not something that I'm saying it's their fault for not understanding, because it isn't their fault at all. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't, and sometimes I get it, and sometimes I don't understand it either. So I have really good supportive friends who also have these issues as well. So it's nice to have like a support bubble amongst friends and everything like that. And it's not been easy. It's definitely not been easy. There's also the PIP. There's also the PIP that I was awarded, which is personal independence payment, which I was given like a few, I don't know, back in, I can't remember now, I think it's 2023 or 2024, something like that. And I'll talk about that as well, because getting PIP is a absolute nightmare for people that actually need it and stuff like that, because I know people who are on it for, I don't really want to say stuff like that where it comes to who should have it and who shouldn't, but there are people that I know definitely just manipulate the system just to get it, that they've got quote unquote nothing wrong with them, and that's, if that is also like if that's a word that's offensive to people, then obviously educate me and stuff like that. But I do feel like there are people that manipulate that system, and I know someone who's manipulated the system. But we could talk about that in another episode, because if you guys have got topic ideas, then just let me know, message me on social medias and stuff like that. So being on PIP and Universal Credit is something that I will touch on later for episodes, mainly about the stigma and the biases towards people that are on benefits currently, because I think I made this clear on Facebook, or I think it was on my Instagram, or it was on my Snapchat or Instagram somewhere, and it was talking about how, people who work and people who don't work, people on benefits, people who aren't on benefits, and I speak from a person who used to work and had mental breakdowns. I just couldn't cope with it, and it doesn't mean I don't want to work, but then there's also a stigma when I say I can't work, but then people say, well, you can because you can do this and blah blah blah. It's definitely more of a systemic sort of approach when it comes to hating on people who are on benefits and stuff like that, and that's what they want you to do. They want you to like hate on each other just because you're on benefits or you work or you're not working and stuff like that. And it has been, in some cases amongst my friends, it has definitely been a topic of discussion when it comes to work ethic and being on benefits and stuff like that. And it is a topic that I do want to talk about if people want to, not debate me, because I don't like the whole term of like debating people, because it is stupid. And just have a conversation about it. instead of being like super biased about it and arguing and everything like that. So the next part I want to talk about is streaming. So I started streaming back in 2018. I did it on and off, and when COVID lockdowns happened in 2020, I was like constantly going to try and do it. And after I discovered TikTok does lives and figuring out how to do it on specifically PC, because I can't do face to face on phone streams and stuff like that where it's just me talking. I like having gaming streams so I can talk and also game, so people have got something to look at in case I don't speak or anything like that, because I can just go non-verbal because I don't know how to hold attention when it comes to certain, like, just to the audience and stuff like that, and I want to figure out how to get better at that. And so when TikTok rolled around, I found out all these cool things that I can get for my room and ways to make my strings look better and sound better. This is one of the examples. Having a HyperX one it was recommended to me on a TikTok video, and like I say, this is a good microphone. This is a really good microphone, and I'm happy that it was recommended to me. At the time, I was also living with my brother and my granddad at this time, but we had to kick my brother out because he basically tried to kill me. But I don't want to get into that situation. I don't want to get onto that with the introduction, but we had to kick my brother out because he was very unstable to live with, and it just eventually just being me and my granddad living here in this house. And he basically, I will probably touch on this in another episode. I just want to get the introduction out of the way. The social services basically handed my brother to my granddad, and he had to move out of his bungalow to this house where we live. Obviously, out of the kindness of his heart, and obviously I said that I'm going to move in with them because I knew my brother would take advantage of him, and even when I was living with him, they still took advantage of him, but that's a whole different situation. It's something I might touch on later in episodes, but I'm not going to get into that right now. So when I started getting fully invested in Twitch, my granddad he was still alive, but he was very ill. He had cancer, so I had to stream less to help my family look after him. And I did stop for a while, and after he passed, I found myself on living in my own house and wondering what I could do with space and time, and just got back to streaming and doing other things, really. And obviously when you start getting your bills sorted and everything else, paying bills and then streaming in my spare time. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, you've always got spare time if you're unemployed. That's true, but you also don't have spare time when you will be in bed for days just staring at the wall, wondering, if you should be dead or not. Because that was me a few times. And obviously mental health is definitely a thing I want to talk about and jump into at some point in other episodes, or all that kind of stuff. I do want to talk about it because it is it's a very passionate thing that I feel very strong against when it comes to opening a dialogue on mental health and all that other stuff. And obviously I do want to get into that. He was, like I say, he was very ill. He was like one of my best friends, my granddad. He definitely was. He was like very, very close. I mean, I'm very close and stuff like that because I stuck up for him, and I made sure that the people that were in my family that were manipulating him didn't do it. And they hated me for that because they started saying, oh, well, Ethan shouldn't be living with granddad because X, Y, and Z, trying to make up things about me, because they knew that, I was stopping them from milking their cash cow, essentially. So obviously I found out stuff I can do with space, and once I got my bills sorted, got the house done and everything else, get back to streaming, get comfy. And I stream with my friends mainly when they feel like it, or they'll do a bulk recording when a DLC comes out. Like, for example, it's either GTA or Red Dead. We will do DLCs for that, and they've not been that good. And most of the time I've been saying to myself I should record just solo and get the DLCs out of the way and everything like that. So we've done that. And another thing I said to myself as I edge towards 30 is that I want to do something about a thing that's affected me for my entire life, which is my weight. And people on Instagram will know that I don't really show my full body on Instagram, very rarely. I mean, I don't mean like naked sort of thing. I mean as in just full pictures of myself. But obviously my friends will take candid pictures, and then obviously I see how big I am. And I don't have an issue with fat people. I don't have an issue with weight. I don't have I don't believe that I have to be skinny to be valuable or any of that kind of stuff before people start jumping down my throat or anything like this. It's a personal thing to want to lose weight and get better, and I think if people want to lose weight to better themselves, then it's a thing that should be done. And I do believe in body positivity. I believe in, fat positivity and all that kind of stuff about it is just your body. As long as you're healthy and you're not hurting anyone else, or, all that kind of shit, you do you. And I do believe in that kind of system. But I still believe there is a lot of stigma towards fat people, and it needs to be sorted out. Like, it really does. But until then, I'm just going to focus on myself. So at the current time of recording this episode, I'm not even, what in the script it says I'm 146 kilograms, right? And I started at 150 back at the end of November, which is, even though it's only 4 kilograms to lose, it's still enough. And I think in a month it's still, quite a good feat. But I've weighed myself. I'm 144 kilograms right now, which is actually quite good. I've started eating healthy, sticking to a routine. I did definitely go for the eat less, move more approach, and trying to stay off caffeine at certain times of the day, and it has been a struggle. As a person who literally, lives off coffee, it has been a very big struggle. But I'm really enjoying the whole weight loss thing. I also downloaded an app called Finch Care, which isn't a weight loss thing. It's just a self-care sort of app that you can download, where you look after a virtual penguin, and it's free as well. You do like these things where it's like brush your teeth, and you get like 5, each gem stuff to spend on outfits or furniture for the penguin's house and stuff like that. And I'm a gamer, and I also want to I also want to improve my my living situation, and I also want to sort that out. So adding something where it integrates gaming and self-care is such a good thing. This isn't a promotion, by the way. I haven't been paid to say this by Finch. It's just a good app. I recommend it. So to lose, like I said, 104. So I'm now 144. So I've lost 150. I can't do maths. 6 kilograms. It's quite good. I think that's quite a good achievement in the space of a month. It's baby steps. At the end of the day, it's baby steps, and progress is progress. And in my eyes, it's all I can do. But also, I'm doing very well, and I'm doing like a lot better. I do feel a lot mentally better. I do have issues with my hip, which is a weight issue. Because I was gonna write a video essay on getting better and losing weight and stuff like that, because as I was getting out of the bath and stuff, I've noticed that I struggle to get out of the bath now, which is out of breath and stuff like that. And I have a bad hip, and I can't walk too much on it, otherwise it absolutely kills it. I can't even stand up and do the washing for long amounts of times, or my back will just lock up. And I think it's a weight issue. It might be something else, but I'm going to go to the doctors and figure that out. But in the meantime, I do think it's a weight issue, but I don't know. So like I said, I am currently writing a script. I can't say, by the way, if I say script like that or something like that, I have a short tongue, so I can't pronounce R's when I'm speaking like fast. So prepare to laugh at that as much as you want. I don't mind. But I'm currently writing a script for Weight Loss Journey, and why I'm losing the weight for myself rather than to impress people. Because I feel like nowadays health and weight loss has become somewhat of a public spectacle. When it comes to our own weight loss journeys, there's like that need to show people that you're doing it, and you're seeking validation from people. I think Amberlyn Reid was definitely a big sort of no pun intended. Sorry. I think Amberlyn Reid was an example of when they were losing weight, that they have to have other people saying, "Oh, you're doing well," and stuff like that, to validate them doing it and stuff like that. And from people telling me that I'm doing well is actually really good, and I do like that. But obviously, I'm still just doing it for me, and I feel like once I hit the age of 30, my metabolism will practically just cease to exist. So it's doing it now. I could be wrong, but I want to do this for me because it's one of my insecurities for as long as I know, since I was a kid, basically. I'm not doing good mentally from it, and physically I think it's worse than ever. But like with some of the factors and being hard to breathe and chest pains and lightheadedness and stuff like that, my hip has been in constant pain, and I think that's the thing with the pain in my hip. I'll most likely be told by my doctor to lose weight, or it will be brought into question when I do go to see a doctor, which is a bit, it's a bit offensive and upsetting, but obviously it will be called into question, and it might actually be a weight issue. But losing weight is going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. I've bought weights, and I'm going to buy a treadmill, maybe like an exercise bike, Peloton, but they're really expensive, so I'll buy like a cheap version of it because it's still exercise. And I'm doing it from home, and I'm going to try and go on walks and everything else to combat my anxiety and everything else like that. So I am looking forward to it, and I think I'm doing well so far. So when it comes down to podcasts, in terms of topics, I know there's a stigma and a cliche that most of the time it's just pointless conversations and there's no content, especially when it comes down to men talking too, because most of my guests will be men, because obviously I'm just talking to friends, and if my female friends want to come on, of course they can. But I just want to talk specifically about I want to beat the stigma of that. I want to do a good podcast and try to stick to one conversation topic and make sure it's not just talking about sex or girls 24/7, like locker talk kind of thing. Because it's not good to talk about in general, and I just want to sway away from that with the podcast. I want to talk about music, movies, video games, wacky stuff, because I love eccentricity. I love watching stuff about lolcows, and I love watching stuff about true crime and weird things that go over the world, like weird traditions and all that kind of stuff. And I apologise if I get louder and quieter. I'm moving the mic away from me, and I'm like talking with my hands, so I might like, moving the mic away from me and stuff like that. So I apologise if it's getting louder and then quieter. I'm not too sure what to do with levels, and I am holding the microphone like a microphone, like I'm on stage, which I can't speak, which I could just put it on my desk, but I want to like hold it like this because I feel like I'm more close to the microphone, make it personal. I don't know. So when it comes down to this introduction script, I'll be going through bullet points in future. In all honesty, I am extremely nervous about doing this, so the podcast won't be out constantly. It'll just be when I have the energy to do so, and I'm going to put it in my Finch Care thing to like try and do a podcast episode once a month, and just when I have the energy to do them and stuff like that, and I will upload them. So I want to finish off the first episode with two things. I want to give a shout out to Jess Pinkney's podcast, which is it's her mental health thing. And it's called Jess the Motivational Mess, which is on, I think it's on Spotify, I think it's on Apple. You'll have to correct me, Jess, if I'm wrong. It's on a lot of things, but yeah, it's mainly on Spotify that I listen to it personally, but I think it will be on other platforms, and there'll be links in descriptions if this is on YouTube, and it'll be links in Spotify if it lets me do it, but obviously not. I'm not too sure if it does it. She's trying to get back into it, so doing more episodes in the future too, and she really doesn't talk about one specific thing, just whatever she wants to talk about in the moment, but mainly it'll be about mental health and advice and Instagram Lives, where she'll record a podcast and she'll do it at the same time, so she'll take questions. She is one of the biggest influences for me, and I want to start a podcast off again because of her, and I can't recommend a fellow Teessider creative like enough. So if you're local and a small business or creator, let me know and I'll drop you a promotion. No price at all, just because I want to help. Nothing reciprocated either. You don't have to shout me out or anything, but if you want to, you can. Because I want to build people up and like actually get a little community going and stuff like that. So yeah. I also want to address the mix-up of usernames when it comes to making content, because a lot of people have asked me why there's different accounts for different things. So the first one is TikTok. So my main one is X Somehow Human X, and my YouTube one is Vampiric Misfit, which I'm going to attempt to get to 1k followers so I can move the stream on there. So the thing is with the Somehow Human one is that I wasn't intending to switch it up or make it the main content one. I just made that TikTok first, and I was testing out with the trends and stuff like that, such as video essay recommendations, and it just shot up from there, and I'm kind of stuck with the 1,300 followers currently that I'm at to stream on the PC. So Vampiric Misfit one might get the same videos that I post on the Somehow Human one, in the hopes that it boosts up all the views and followers and whatnot and stuff like that. So when I get around to streaming on Vampiric Misfit on TikTok, then I'll be up to doing that and stuff like that. But until now, it's just X Somehow Human X, and it's gonna stay like that for the future until I sort it. But I will let people know when that happens. Twitch is Vampiric Misfit along with everything else, so Instagram, and that's it really. I don't bother with Twitter because it's a cesspit, and social medias might be coming soon. Like I might make other socials, but I'll be sticking to the main three, which is TikTok, Instagram, Twitch. I also have Discord, and my name is Vampiric Misfit on Discord if you want to add me on there. My Steam is the exact same thing as well. I want to have more people on my Steam because the activity feed is pretty much dead right now, and I'd love to see people's gaming content, such as screenshots, artwork, other stuff that you like involving games, and get more of a community going like there. I want to also shout out Tom's Discord server, which is the Gangoon Gang, which I probably butchered, but yeah. It's a new active one from the old one, and it's done a lot better than the other like server that we were in, because there was a lot of horrible toxicity, and we just moved a new server and we started fresh, and we it's been really good. It's been active. At least like 6 of us will be in a call at once every day now, which is great, and it's actually quite active. I don't know what else. I've kind of drawn a blank now. Look at the script. I'm not really sure how I want to round the video off and end it, so I'm just gonna say thank you to the people who made 2024 bearable, especially all the new people that I've met, Charlie, Alex, Carl. Obviously I've known Charlie for a while anyway, but obviously we've only just started like reconnecting this year, and it's been great. I want to say thank you to everyone else. If I haven't mentioned you, it's not because I forgot your name. It's just I don't know if you want your names mentioned and stuff like that, but I know they're okay with it. So obviously, you know who you are. The people that I've made this year are really good for me. And obviously, like, more videos will be on the way, because like lately I bought some new mics. I'm saving up for a new Canon camera. Leon's gonna come and do like nature walks and do like mental health talks with me at the same time while we're just like walking around Stockton and Billingham or whatever and talking about stuff. I still don't really know how to end this episode, but just again, I just want to say thank you to everyone that supports what I do. It isn't my goal to be like super popular or anything like that. I'm just making content to, like, because I want to. I'm just making content because it helps me have some sort of A, routine, and B, like, just mental stability. I'm doing it because I want to do it, and I'm doing it because, you know, I don't want to have spectacle or anything like that. If I do get famous from it, that'd be really good. It'd be brilliant. But I'm going to use my fame to, if I do it, I'm going to use my fame to support other people instead of just being like self-righteous and all that kind of stuff and self-absorbed, because that's the last thing that I want to do if content does get to that point. So I've lost where I am on the script, but I'm making, like I said, I'm making more content. I'm getting into shape because I want to, and I can't thank people enough. And I want to give it to, obviously I've given a shout out to Tom's Discord. There are some really great people in it, and I love you all so much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like, I know I haven't been the greatest friend sometimes, but I hope that obviously as I get better, I can be a better friend and everything else, and I do mean it. You are some of the greatest friends that I've ever met, and here's to 2025 being a good year for all of us, I guess. But yeah, this was a 26-minute episode, maybe trying to push out to half an hour, but obviously it depends on what I'm talking about. But I'll see you guys in the next episode of the podcast. Like I said, I'm not sure when it's going to be out, because writing this script did take a while in the first place for me, but that's a start, and I'm going to get better each time. I want to hopefully do the whole, like, you know, get 1% better each day kind of mentality, where it gets to the end of the year and I've like 365%, like, just, you know, completely got better. And I'm hoping to stick to this routine of making things, and hopefully going to try and have some form of content out once a week, whether it's the podcast episode, whether it's a YouTube video playing demos or something, or it's, you know, it's just a gaming one or a talking one in general. And the second that I've finished this recording, I'm going to get to work on my true crime essay, which I want to write about and talk about, because I miss writing essays. I miss writing, like, having deadlines to make stuff. That's another thing. I keep having like a recurring dream where I'm always in university, but I can't find the class I'm in. I'm always back at school and I can't find the class that I'm in. So for people that read dreams, or like have, do any of you guys have any idea what any of that means? Because I think I looked it up and it was like that I'm missing some form of structure, and I'm missing some form of, like, you know, going to school and doing things, because that was your routine when you were a kid and stuff like that. And I keep having dreams where we're making like video essays. Sorry, we're making dissertations and all this kind of stuff, but I can't submit it for some reason, or I always get lost on the way to the classes, and then I'll just wake up. So I think that's something that I need to look into. Maybe start doing things on the open university, but obviously I've got a 2-1, so I've got a bachelor's degree, which I'm gonna use when I hopefully gonna maybe try and get back into work. Get PIP at the same time, because you can do that. You can work and have PIP, which will help me through that and stuff like that. And I'm just gonna slag off the job centre for now. The coach that I was with was terrible, and I'm not apologising for it. They were genuinely terrible. I'm not gonna name drop them or anything like that, because I don't want to, but they were really bad. And they literally did say to me, "Oh, well, I was depressed and I got over it, so why can't you?" Which that was one of the reasons why I had a mental breakdown and stopped looking for work, and that's the reason why I'm in this situation currently. But that doesn't mean I'm not work shy. Because I'm not work shy. It's just obviously the kind of work that I want to do. I hit the mic. The kind of work I want to do, I want to be creative and stuff like that. So triage are definitely the best kind of people to go with when it comes to looking for work when you've got disabilities, mental illness, and all that kind of stuff, because they are really supportive. It is just a shame that my other job coach made me have a mental breakdown and I stopped working with them. But obviously I want to get back into it. And sorry, I went off a tangent when I was going to really close the episode out, but it will get to the 30-minute mark at some point. But I don't mean it. I'm just, like I said, I'm trying to get it for half an hour, maybe like an hour for these future episodes. So I just want to round it off by saying, like I said, I really do love and appreciate my friends. Last year was absolutely insane, and I'm hoping that 2025 is great and you all get what you deserve and you all do, good things this year, and just do what you can. So I do appreciate every single person. You all know who you are anyway, because I make it apparent that you're good people, like, all the time. And I want to keep making it apparent that I do love you from the bottom of my heart, platonically, of course. But yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next episode. My throat is killing me because I've been talking too much. I haven't taken like a drink or anything. But I will see you guys in the next episode, whether it's the Somehow Human podcast, which is the solo one, or the council certified one, which will be me and other guests. If you want to be a guest on the next podcast episode, let me know and we'll arrange something. And that's really it. And I will see you guys on Spotify, on YouTube, or wherever this thing's gonna be. Very professional, Ethan. It'll be out when it's out. That's as professional as I can get. But yeah, peace out. Stay safe. Love you all. Goodbye.